Right, so welcome back to another video on this channel, and today we have the start of a brand new series on this channel because essentially what I'm going to be doing in this series is predicting every single Premier League result for obviously the Premier League games that are upcoming in the weekend. Now before I get into this, I want to quickly apologise to you guys for not uploading recently as much because I actually did lose my SD card for quite a bit of time, and obviously I couldn't record videos without the SD card. But yeah, we are back now. The Premier League is back after a long and just draining international break, especially if you are an Irish fan. But yeah, the Premier League festive period is now well and truly underway, starting this weekend with obviously 10 Premier League games. And also, before we get into this video, if you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be very much appreciated. We are looking to hit 750 subscribers, let's say by the end of the weekend. I think that is pretty achievable. Also, make sure to leave a like on the video as well, especially if you do want me to continue this series on. So yeah, 10 to 15 likes on this video as usual will be massively appreciated. And yeah, let's get into predicting this weekend's Premier League results. Starting off with the Saturday 12:30 lunchtime kickoff at St James's Park, Newcastle versus my club Chelsea. Now, St James's Park has been known as quite of a bogey ground for Chelsea in the last few years. I mean, Newcastle in general are pretty much a bogey team for Chelsea because I think in recent history particularly we have mainly struggled against them. However, Chelsea are on massive form at this moment in time. We are on the back of I think 4 or 5 victories in a row in all competitions, so yeah, we're looking very, very good at both ends of the pitch. The only thing is for us, we are missing, you know, Kai Havertz, Thiago Silva and Christian Pulisic. Obviously Silva only played for Brazil on Tuesday, so he wasn't in contention to play this weekend. Havertz has just recovered from coronavirus and isn't match fit to play, and obviously Christian Pulisic is apparently still a week or two away from full fitness. But yeah, overall I think that we should still have enough firepower to beat this Newcastle team. Just though, I'm going to go for Newcastle 1, Chelsea 2. I think that both teams will score. Now moving on to the second game, the 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday, and that is Aston Villa versus Brighton Hove Albion at Villa Park. Brighton have been kind of struggling this season. I mean, I know a lot of people at the start of the season thought that they actually would do well and probably finish around mid-table, but for some reason they're just playing really well. They're just not managing to pick up points. On the flip side, Aston Villa are absolutely flying. I mean, Jack Grealish, their key player, I mean, he's just the man of the moment at the minute. He can't do no wrong right now. And obviously Aston Villa on the back of a 3-0 victory at the Emirates. I mean, what an incredible result that was, especially after beating Liverpool 7-2 as well. So Aston Villa looked like they really could do bits against the bigger teams this season. But yeah, overall I really can't see anything other than the home win here. I'm not going to lie. I mean, Aston Villa are just flying, and as I said, just Brighton just can't seem to get a win. I mean, they just can't seem to get any points at the moment, despite the fact that they are playing quite well. And Brighton really do struggle for goals. I mean, their strike force is actually decent on paper, but they just don't really score enough. And yeah, I think it'll be a comfortable enough win for Aston Villa. I'm going to go for Aston Villa 2, Brighton 0. Now on to what is probably the main game of this weekend, and that is Tottenham versus Manchester City at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium at 5:30 on Saturday. Now I think this will be a very, very close match. I know probably Man City are the favourites for most people, but I actually do think Spurs are the minor favourites for this game going into it. It should be a very interesting encounter. I mean, both sides are very, very strong. Both sides are missing like 1 or 2 players, but I think overall their squads at the moment are just absolutely quality. They probably have 2 of the best squads in the league at the moment. And to be perfectly honest, I actually think that if there's going to be a winner in this game, I think Tottenham will be the more likely team to nick this game purely because they are at home, and plus Jose Mourinho, he just has a very good record against these kind of teams. But on the flip side, I mean, Man City really need to keep picking up points. I mean, obviously if they don't, they're going to be left out of the title race. So yeah, overall for this one, I think I'm going to predict the safe option for a draw, and I'm going to go for Tottenham 2, Manchester City 2, but yeah, it should be a very good game either way. Next up we have Manchester United versus West Brom. I think it's at 8 o'clock on Saturday night, so yeah, another decent game this weekend. West Bromwich Albion have failed to win a game thus far in the Premier League. I mean, 8 games in and they've only picked up a handful of points. West Brom can be quite solid at times. I mean, they do actually go through games where they really do look actually kind of solid at the back, but I don't think it will pay off this weekend because I think United have just too much firepower for West Brom to shut out for the entire 90 minutes. And yeah, I just think United will win this comfortably, and I'm going to go for Manchester United 3, West Brom 0. As I said, West Brom could actually provide a shock result because of course they did provide a shock result against Chelsea in that 3-3 draw earlier in the season, but I just think United have too much firepower for this West Brom defence to keep out, and yeah, I think it'll be a comfortable win for the Red Devils at Old Trafford. Now we have Fulham versus Everton. Fulham, a team that are very much struggling so far this season. On the flip side, Everton, who started off the season absolutely magnificently and in recent weeks have dropped a few points where they perhaps shouldn't have. The only good thing for Everton is that they do have players come back. I mean, you know, the likes of Lucas Digne. I'm not sure if Richarlison is 100% fit yet. I'm pretty sure he's a 50-50 on this game. And yeah, as I said, they really did start the season like a house on fire. I mean, I think they were top of the league after 4 or 5 games or something mad like that, and in the recent weeks they have kind of slumped and obviously, as I said, dropped points in games they probably shouldn't have dropped them in. However, I do think Fulham are actually a bit of an underrated team. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're down at the bottom for a reason, but they have showed a bit of fight in the last few weeks, and to be fair, they were actually very unlucky not to get at least a draw against West Ham before the international break. I mean, it was an Ademola Lookman horror penalty, the only reason they went home empty-handed. And I do think Fulham will actually put up a bit of a fight for this Everton team, but I just think with Everton's players coming back, they have a fully strength team like they had at the start of the season when they were winning games on a consistent basis. And I just think Everton will have too much quality for this Fulham team, and in the end I'm going to go for Fulham 1, Everton 3. Now we have Sheffield United versus West Ham United, probably the most unappealing game of the weekend, I think it's fair to say. And yeah, Sheffield United are yet another team that have failed to pick up a win thus far in the Premier League this season. They really are struggling. I mean, as I predicted at the start of the season, second season syndrome is really taking its toll on the Sheffield United team so far. But you have to cut a bit of slack in my opinion, because they are missing three key players for them, which are Lise Mousset, Jack O'Connell and John Fleck, three absolute main starters for them last season in that team that actually did so well last season. West Ham have ultimately exceeded everybody's expectations so far in the Premier League this season. I mean, pretty much everyone expected at this stage in the season that would be rock bottom of the table and doom and gloom for relegation. However, West Ham are missing Mikel Antonio, who is a massive part of this West Ham team and how they do play. But yeah, overall, I can see a stalemate here. I mean, I just can. It's not hard to guess. I was going to go for 0-0, but I do think both sides will get a goal, and that is why I've gone for Sheffield United 1, West Ham United 1. Now we have one of the games that I'm actually really looking forward to this weekend. I'm not going to lie, because on paper it has the potential to be one of the best games of the weekend, and that is Leeds United versus Arsenal at Elland Road. Now both sides, of course, are on the back of absolutely embarrassing defeats before the international break. Obviously, Leeds losing 4-1 at Selhurst Park to Crystal Palace, and Arsenal getting beat 3-0 at home by Aston Villa. Apologies there, boys. The lighting did go off, but yeah, as I was saying, I mean, this should be a really interesting encounter between two sides that, as I said, have been embarrassed before the international break took place. And I'm not going to lie, I actually would have backed Leeds for this one, but I just think that Calvin Phillips in midfield is just too big a miss for them, to be quite honest. They're just not the same team without Calvin Phillips' tenacity in that midfield. I mean, he anchors the midfield absolutely brilliantly alongside Click. But don't get me wrong, I actually wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if Leeds actually did get at least a point from the game, if not actually win the game. And yeah, because of Calvin Phillips' absence in this Leeds United team, I think that Arsenal will just about nick this one. I'm going to go for Leeds United 1, Arsenal 2. But yeah, even still, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this game does pan out, because yeah, I really do like to watch Leeds this season, and yeah, hopefully once again we see them play the blistering brand of football we've seen from them so far this season. Now we move on to another game on the Sunday, and that is Liverpool versus Leicester City at Anfield. Now obviously no secret, Liverpool have had an absolute nightmare with injuries in recent weeks. After losing Van Dijk, they've now lost Alexander-Arnold, Joe Gomez, Mohamed Salah to coronavirus, potentially Jordan Henderson now as well. They still have Fabinho missing as well, they still have Thiago missing, so overall it's just an absolute injury crisis for Liverpool at the moment. And I'm not gonna lie, I really think that will play a psychological effect on this Liverpool team, because obviously the way they're missing so many of their key players, it will take a psychological effect on that team. And yeah, I just think Liverpool won't quite be up to it on Sunday because of obviously the depleted team, and this game is actually perfectly set up for Leicester to win, if I'm being perfectly honest. I mean, the one team that Liverpool might have not wanted to play this weekend was a team like Leicester, who are so blistering on the counter-attack. And yeah, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to say for this one, Liverpool 1, Leicester City 3. Now that will obviously surprise quite a lot of you, because Liverpool are of course the favourites. I mean, they're Premier League champions for a reason, but I just think that Leicester have too much going forward. They're way too fast and just clinical on the counter-attack to obviously be held back by this Liverpool makeshift defence. And yeah, I'm going to say the shock result of this weekend, Liverpool 1, Leicester 3. And the penultimate game of this Premier League weekend, we move on to Monday Night Football, and that is Burnley versus Crystal Palace on Monday Night Football. Another one that isn't really appealing for most Premier League fans, I think. Burnley are the third and final team, of course, that haven't won a game yet this season. I mean, they've really struggled after the absolutely diabolical transfer window they had in the summer. However, I do think Burnley actually are due a win, especially against a team like Crystal Palace, who in my opinion are probably the most unpredictable and most inconsistent team in the Premier League. I mean, we've seen over the years with Crystal Palace, particularly in recent years, I mean, they're absolutely blistering at some times, and then other times they're just absolutely boring and they fail to score a goal. And Jeff, I'm being perfectly blunt here, I do think that Burnley will be able to just about house a draw in this one. I'm going to go for Burnley 1, Crystal Palace 0. And the final game we have of this Premier League weekend, Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Southampton at Molineux. Now, Southampton are just on fine form at the moment. They're actually 4th in the Premier League, and obviously they beat Newcastle in their last game on the Friday Night Football to make them go top of the league. In saying that though, Wolves have been quite decent too. I mean, Wolves have been a bit, 50-50. They're hanging around mid-table. They win some, they lose some. The one thing for Southampton that actually does put them back quite a bit, in my opinion, is the fact that they're missing Danny Ings, their main goal scorer. I think they will struggle for goals against this Wolves side, who are known to be very solid defensively. And Wolves normally do just, carve out these results. They like to carve out like 1 and 2-0 wins every now and then, especially against these sides like Southampton, who are missing, of course, as I said, their main goal threat. And I do think that Wolves will have another one of those games where they do carve out 3 points, and that is why I'm going to go for Wolves 2, Southampton 0. Wolves getting a good 3 points on Monday Night Football. And yes, so we've just gone through all my Premier League predictions for the weekend now, and obviously if you want to go and put your predictions for this weekend's Premier League action in the comment section below, feel free to do so. And also, as I said at the start of this video, if you could leave a like on this video, 10 to 15 likes would be massively appreciated, because it lets me know if you actually want me to do this series going forward. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because yeah, as I said at the start of this video as well, we are looking to hit 750 subscribers as soon as we possibly can. So yeah, any subscription you guys do make will help us out massively on the way to achieving that goal, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.